Welcome to another Balistix Bullets information sharing video. My name is Lance Stevens and I run a precision gunsmithing hobby business. I was asked by Balistix Bullets to share with you the basic steps needed to reload a Balistix bullet. Before we start with the steps, I'd just like to show you what we have on the table here. This tool is considered precision instruments, and as you will learn later on, the Balistix brand name is all about accuracy and precision. The cases the round that we're going to load today is a 300 WSM. I've brought some prepared cases. They are only cleaned. We'll do all the reloading steps here in front of you right now. We've got CCI 250 primers here. We've got vials with preloaded or pre-charged gunpowder. It works exceptionally well if you consider ever reloading on the shooting range. Lots of time can be saved to take your new rifle out to the range with this strategy that I'm going to show you today. In order to make this work, we've got a SPR mobile press stand here, fitted with a Foster coax press. Really a well-known and extremely good quality press. On the table as well, we've got the new, and I'm proud to say, South African designed and manufactured exact shooting product. This is a revolutionary die that works so much different than what you're used to. I will quickly run through some of the salient features of this die in a few minutes. We also have a K&M precision primer seating tool here. I particularly like this product because you've got a very good feel on the seating of the primer in the back of the case. This little anvil on the primer that protrudes there is snugly compressed to the correct depth, and it makes for very consistent ignition of your round. The stars of today is our Balistix monolithic bullets. Again, proud to say that these are again South African manufactured and designed monolithic bullets with a few very interesting design aspects that we will deal with at a later stage. For bullet seating purposes, we will use a standard reading competition bullet seating die. I like these dies a lot. They're easy to use, extremely accurate. You can, without a shadow of a doubt, seat within 1/1000th of an inch by adjusting the die, and you're bang on the size every time. They work very well. In order for us to be able to determine the seating depth of the bullet itself, I've just brought one product here that I use. There's many other techniques available and other products on the market. I like this a lot. This is a Hornady overall length gauge. It is fitted with a screw-on modified case of your caliber. This is basically used by inserting it in the chamber of the rifle. We'll probably show you a short video on that a bit later. You press the case in the chamber until you get the firm contact of your shoulder of the case with the shoulder of your chamber. That indicates that you're at the headspace position, and from there on you would utilize this little plunger in the back, or this rod, that you will press it forward until your bullet makes firm contact with the lance. By doing so, this little finger nut is locked. This little bar can't move, and it provides for a very good solid positional rest inside the case. Because that is touching the lance, we need to consider the amount of jump that we would like to apply to this bullet. There's many rifle tuning techniques available for you, and I'll just show you one of them quickly. Two measurement standards is applied in reloading. The first I'm not very fond of, where you talk about cartridge overall length, and it is exactly how the name says. It is the measurement from the base of the case to the tip of the bullet. This is achieved fairly easy by using your vernier, placing it in a little provided cutout so that it centers in the middle of the case, and you would then just run until you get firm contact with the tip, and whatever the size is you read off there, that is cartridge overall length. Why don't we like that in the industry? Any variance in tip geometry will have a variance on cartridge overall length. So if you want to precisely tune your bullets to be 20 thousandths of an inch away from the lands, and your bullet has got some tip damage or has fallen, or maybe due to the manufacturing process, more specifically your lead, and sometimes the polymer tip bullets can have some variances, then you're getting skewed sizes. Designers have come up with a very, very clever device which is called a bullet comparator, or an ogive comparator. It's basically a caliber specific unit that will allow the bullet to fit in and touch on the ogive almost at caliber size. That geometry on a bullet, most brand names are exceptionally reliable, and therefore comparator tools is my preference in measuring cartridge overall length or bullet length per se. And to do that, you physically just install the comparator on your vernier. You would just zero the vernier to get always a reference size. With your stop still engaged and your bullet in there, you will go and you'll measure this size. This size is referred to as CBTO, cartridge base to ogive measurement. This is the way that I recommend you measure your bullets, and from whatever that size is on there, you would then subtract the amount of jump you want on your bullet, and that becomes your new reference. It is a relative size, but it is relative to your equipment, your vernier, your tool, and yours only. So you can always come back to the same size there. There are more of these. I think this is also a Hornady little tool, but Foster have recently come up with a datum dial that does exactly the same job. It's a bit more flashy, the design. Again, you would zero your vernier and you would repeat the process. It's got a caliber selective dial on here, so this one is currently selected on 308 caliber because this is a 300 WSM, so that little bullet hole there, or that little hole there, will allow you now to again get the same type of reading. The size will be different than to the Hornady because geometries and stuff is somehow different between the two, but it's a relative size. Whatever you get on there, write it down, and that is your zero. That's touch. From there you would seat the bullet deeper and deeper until you get the size you desire, and that will be your jump. A quick range check with your vernier, if you've got that size, your cartridge overall length written down somewhere, will quickly tell you if something's wrong with your bullet or not, but it will probably be 1, 2, or 3 thousandths of an inch off at any given time due to the geometry changes from bullet to bullet. Okay, so what we will do now is I'll quickly prepare a case. We'll charge it with powder. I'll show you how the whole process works, and hopefully that will give you a fair understanding that the Balistix bullet in all instances can be utilized on the same reloading theory as your other favorite conventional bullets out in the market. Okay, what I'm going to show you guys is the first step of preparing the case. This is just a clean case. It needs to be sized. For that I'll be using the exact die. I'll quickly show you a few of the salient features of this die. As you can see there's a movable sleeve in the die, but what is very, very different from this die to any other die on the market is that it's headspace adjustable, and it sizes the shoulder and the case, the bumping of the shoulder and the sizing of the body of the case as a first operation, and lastly it sizes the neck area. Most other dies do it the opposite way around. They will first size the neck area and lastly size the shoulder and the case body. Why that is perhaps not a good idea is the case neck is in principle the weakest link of the whole case design. It's also the thinnest section. This die is designed to first address the body and the shoulder, which is very tough to compress and get concentric. And once that's done, this whole geometry is firmly held in place in the die, can't move anywhere, and the neck is sized last. And it sort of, by virtue of its design, guarantees you as close as possible to a zero run out every time. In order to achieve that, there's an isolation tool that basically fits over that sleeve cutout, and as you can see now the sleeve can't slide into the die. That is for sizing your case shoulder and body, and once you remove this isolation tool, your die is now allowed to move deeper in, and that sizes your case. They come with half thousandths of an inch increments, the little bushes. This one typically is a 3345. You can custom order whatever size you want of these. They do have a shim-based bushing spacer system. So instead of having a micrometer dial on the top, whatever, there's a little procedure that you move around shims. Very easy, and you hardly ever need to change that setting ever in the die's life. So there was no need for putting a micrometer on here. The shims are in increments of your desire, so you can precisely seat your bushing exactly where you want it on the case. The last interesting feature of this die is basically the fact that it's headspace adjustable. We'll probably do another video later to give more details, but there's a little tool that you install on the die there, and you can see that it's got click adjustments. Each click is a half thousandth of an inch headspace movement. This die coincidentally is already set up, so I'm not going to fiddle with that now. In order to do the reloading, very easy. You just slide in your exact die in your press or screw it in. I must mention that this is not a 7/8 diameter die, this is a 1 inch. So in most cases you would need to purchase a new press set insert that will allow you to use a larger diameter die. You can see that there's a significant difference in diameter. This Foster press was also modified to take the 1 inch die better. As always, step number one in case sizing is to apply a good sizing lubricant. I'm just using the infamous Imperial sizing die wax from Reading. Apply it with very thin coat evenly on the case. Insert the case in the shoulder. Remember to always, step one, use your isolation tool, and it's as easy as this. You slide the case into the die. A firm press will size the body and the neck, and by just relieving ever so slightly the pressure off the die, you are then allowed to remove the isolation tool. That case is currently firmly encapsulated in the sizing sleeve, so it can't move anywhere, and all that you now do is to run the stroke through, and then you size the neck according to the bush that you've obviously selected for sizing your specific case. Neatly done. Just take a rag, remove the excess sizing wax, and we're off to the next step. Next step will be to insert the primer. I'm using the K&M tool that I mentioned earlier. Wear safety glasses, it's a good idea. I'm just pointing the case away from me, so there's no real risk to my eyes. I press the lever in, and I can actually feel that angle of the primer seating perfectly in the primer pocket. And if I run my finger over the back of the case, you can feel that the primer is ever so slightly below the flush of the case base. Next step will be to get the powder charge in the case and seat the bullet. So let's remove our sizing die, get all of this out of the way. As I've said previously, I'm using Reading's competition seating die. Works very well, no problems with this. Inserted there, this die coincidentally is already pre-set up for my correct seating depth, and I am running on this rifle a 30 thou jump on these specific bullets. So what I'll then show to you is my little vial strategy. Preloaded powder, open the vial, take a funnel, we'll throw the powder in, make sure all the kernels enter, remove the funnel, and you will now see that your Balistix bullet will not enter the case because we have sized it. One important thing I just want to mention now, without running into too much details of the bullet, because it is a rebated bow tail design, it does not have the conventional bow tail that allows the bullet to self-align so well when you seat the bullet. It sort of like to float a little bit on the neck of the case, but the minute you apply the slightest pressure from the top, it auto centers, because there is a built-in, ever so tiny angle cut on the rebated bow tail that allows for proper alignment and insertion. So there will be no scraping of material as you seat the bullet. It sort of has got that taper function built into it anyway, and it should be plain sailing from there. Again, we install the case in our press, dies in position, run it down. I like to halfway just rotate the assembly a bit. Been taught that many years ago, and I still do it today. And there we go. This case is now properly loaded. Balistix bullet is in position. For double checking purposes, you can obviously then take your comparator tool, zero it, check your size, and I'm aiming for a 2992 size here. And as you can see there, I am smack on the button, 2992. We'll get some close-up shots later. This bullet is precisely 30 thou away from the lance, ready to shoot. You will also find that when you do concentricity run-out checks on this bullet, which I'm not going to do now due to not having my gauge here, they are extremely aligned. I mean, you're talking about 1,000ths run-out if you're lucky, or if you're not lucky. It's contributed mainly to the precision manufacturing of the bullet itself, or the preparation of the case, neck thickness, concentricities, etc. And then lastly, but not the least, the most important aspect is the exact sizing die. That brings me to the end of this video presentation. Thank you for watching.